what a huge difference it was for me to learn about how gas and oil handled it. And then for you guys, for all the gas and oil people to learn how the renewable industry was handling it. They were kind of letting the bombs go off and hoping that they could get these things figured out.
Yeah. It's all about marketability and efficiency, right? You know, if if you've gone down the line 2 years with your solar lease and now you're going to try to get this deal sold, or you're wanting to move into development construction, and you don't know what issues you have there, and then you hit a bomb, and then it costs you a deal. It costs you time. It costs you another 6, 8 months to get something cleaned up. You've lost that advantage. Maybe somebody else has slid in and been able to get their deal done ahead of you. Maybe you lost a sale because this thing is not marketable because you have 200 mineral owners. And you know, Randy's right. It really boils down to how how pretty can this package be when you send it to your underwriter, right? How clean is it?
Mhm.
Have you identified the issues and fixed them? And that's kind of one of the things that is different. You know, Randy mentions there's a checklist, and you kind of go through these steps and you work through it, and that's all fine. It'll get you there some of the time until it doesn't, until it costs you a ton, or you can't get your deal done. In oil and gas, it's she's right. We typically are able to fix those problems going before we put a bit in the ground to drill an oil and gas well. We're doing research. We do title curative on every run sheet that we prepare in an oil and gas project. And landmen are very well adept to be able to do that curative. We do nothing but airship affidavits day in and day out. We do possession affidavits on the surface. We're finding people, we're securing oil and gas leases. And how that translates to the renewable side is we're identifying those issues, we're fixing those gaps, we're providing an out of probate in another county in our rent sheet that wouldn't have been received otherwise. If you just do your traditional kind of surface title title run, and we're able to pull all that stuff together. And hopefully, what you want to strive for is for your development clients, your solar developer clients, is to be able to have a high success rate. Like, you know, if they're going to buy a lease on a piece of land, it obviously checks all the boxes for interconnection and you know, getting that product into the grid. But man, if you can get them to where they're each one of these jobs is getting done and getting to construction or getting sold successfully and efficiently, that's what you want to strive for. The difference primarily is tolerance for spending, right?
You're making a good point, because the thing that I've tried to tell the renewable developers about this aspect is that you almost are setting yourself up for extortion. And I mean that directly and bluntly, that they sign the lease, they apply for the interconnection. And in some markets, those interconnection applications, just so that everybody knows what kind of dollar amounts that we're talking about, literally, they've just signed the lease, and they haven't done any diligence. It's with Will Smith, not the correct landowner. Then they go and apply, and they will spend $850,000 and above on one application for their project. And then the other diligence of, the phase ones, or, the wetland delineations, all of those other big spends, those are really big spends. So within a very short period of time, before they even have title work done, a project could have a spend of over a few $1,000,000. So then, to me, that puts that investment and that onus of seeing that project get built more to that developer. So then when you say to them, now you've got this problem that you've got to go to 55 different subsurface owners, and you're going to have to pay them. Well, they've already spent over $2.5 million. Their spin is like every day, ding, 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 ding. That's all they hear is ching, 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 ching. So those landowners, those subsurface owners, anybody that they have to buy something from or get something from, they're more willing. I mean, they wouldn't admit this, but subconsciously or consciously, however you want to look at it, they have to be more willing to pay because of the spend that they already have.
Yeah.
And the higher that spend, which is crazy to me, the higher the spend, the
You're
higher
already
that
in
they're
it.
willing to pay. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, I'm in the wrong business.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me, but that's the game that they play. And when now I've tried to educate those developers, the phase, first two phase developers, that by you getting that project, that land, the title, what I'm going to call policy ready,
Marketable.
not
Yeah.
shovel ready,
Yeah.
look at the value, because then you could come back to them and say, I saved potentially millions of dollars in subsurface waiver fees. I saved because you caught that before you spent so much money. And that, you know, it's kind of like when you go in to buy a car, you have to be willing to like, no, no, really want to buy it. See you later.
Yeah.
Have a nice day. But
Yeah.
if you go in there needing a car and you cannot leave that place without a car, you'll end up paying way more than you can afford for
Yeah.
that car.
And it's just a
So
vicious cycle. I mean, you just
it's a
keep throwing
very
good money at
vicious
bad.
cycle that they set themselves up for.
Yeah, it really is, and it can be avoided. You know, we get it all the time. I mean, we put out 4 or 5 quotes for mineral tile a week. Very easily, we do one a day around here, and you know, we'll lose a bid over $1,000. Right? It happens all the time. And when the fact is, in 2 weeks' time, you can run your mineral title, know what your exposure is, know if you have any other issues hiding and lurking before you spend your 200, 300, $800,000 for your permitting to move forward. And even, for matter of fact, before you even buy that lease, that title and that work can be done if you've engaged with the right group that is there, and you're partnering with that group, and you put it at the forefront as, hey, this is marketable title is an important part of this process. You can't
It's
get
the
to the
change
finish
of the
line.
checklist.
Yeah.
That's what has to happen here. It's the change of the checklist, because we all see how it, you know, both both sides see how this can unfold detrimentally, and every project that doesn't do it, in my opinion, a more correct way, or early diligence way, you, you, you can't even quantify the amount of money of extra spend on that project, because title wasn't diligent. The focus wasn't initially on title. But that's the problem. Here lies the problem of development.
Yeah.
Title is not the number one factor, and that's not the stopgap. I have a couple of great clients that have become very enlightened, and we now have this, the pen doesn't work until the deed pool has been done. So unless that executive has seen that to our group has done some early stage diligence, meaning a deed pool that we know for sure we're going into, at least right now, the right person, his pen now has gone dry. His ink is gone dry. And that's like euphoric for me, because now he sees that he went back after 3 months and he goes, I really see monetarily how you have saved us money, because I'm not signing so many amendment and restatements. I'm not having to sign so many extensions for landowners. I'm not having to sign as many things.